Namaskar students, I welcome you to Headlines of the Day. In this video, we are going to discuss important headlines of the Hindu newspaper dated 4 July 2022 of Delhi edition. Our first important headline is SC calls for a panel to look into freebies issue. Available on page number 1 related to paper 2 Polity and Governance section. In this article, we have to know about the Supreme Court's recent observations on freebies. What are freebies? Issues linked to them and ways to handle. तो recently क्या हुआ कि Supreme Court observed that Parliament may not be able to effectively debate the issue of doing away with irrational freebies offered to voters during elections. Court suggested setting up an specialized body composed of persons who can dispassionately examine the problem. हमने freebies को अपनी वेबसाइट पे बहुत अच्छे से कवर किया है. So if you want to know more about it, link is available in the description, right? Our next important headline is Union Government Rolls Back Data Protection Bill. Available on page number 1 related to paper 2 Polity and Governance section. In this article, we have to know major features of the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019, its objectives, criticism and way ahead. So recently क्या हुआ कि Union Government withdrew Personal Protection Bill 2019 from the Lok Sabha and said it will come up with a fresh bill that fits into comprehensive legal framework. हमने data protection bill को बहुत अच्छे से cover किया है. You can follow the link available in the description, right? Our next important headline is China steps up pressure on Taiwan. Available on page number 1 related to paper 2 international relations. In this article, we have to know how did the current round of tensions come about? Where does Taiwan stand in relation to China and the world? Implications of the rising tensions for India and way ahead. So recently, Chinese military announced that it will begin one of its largest ever exercise in the waters of Taiwan, and that will effectively seal off its airspace and waters for 4 days. Chinese military said that it will begin large-scale exercise in 6 areas in the waters and airspace to the north, east, southwest, southeast around the island of Taiwan, right? If you want to know more about the issue, link is available in the description, right? Our next important headline is Teaching the Taliban the Wrong Lesson. Available on page number 6 related to paper 2 International Relations. In this article, we have to know about the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, reactions of international community, what are India's key strategic interest in Afghanistan, future challenges, key analysis and way forward. तो recently क्या हुआ, during a recent track 2 meeting for Afghanistan and regional delegates, Taliban observed that the militant group was on its way to global acceptance as UAE had almost completed the official recognition process from the international community. Number of countries now operate diplomatic missions in Kabul. The number of multilateral meetings the Taliban have been invited to in Russia and China, as well as the most recent one in Uzbekistan, where as many as 30 countries, including India, sent senior envoys to meet around a table with large Taliban delegation to discuss Afghanistan security, economic development in Tashkent, right? Significantly, India has joined the list of countries opening missions under Taliban regime, but has yet to post a diplomat who can restart the process of consular and visa operations. Our next important headline is Reaping the Demographic Dividend. Available on page number 7 related to paper 3 economy section. In this article, we have to know key highlights of the World Population Prospect Report 2022, challenges, opportunities of being the most populous country for India and future prospects. So recently, UN report highlighted that world population will touch 8 billion this year and rise to 9.8 billion in 2050, right? If you want to know more about this data, you can follow the link which is available in the description, right? Our next important headline is Bring Back the Dhow Route. Available on page number 7, paper 2 International Relations, right? In this article, we have to know about the Chinese interest in the Indian Ocean, its initiatives and development in Sri Lanka, concerns for India's security, and what steps should India take in this scenario, right? तो रिसेंटली चाइनीज मिलिट्री वेसल क्यों न्यूज में था, क्योंकि चाइनीज मिलिट्री वेसल इज शेड्यूल्ड टू टेक द कॉल एट श्रीलंकन पोर्ट ऑफ हम्बनटोटा. Hambantota is now the property of Chinese corporation, having been swapped for part of Sri Lanka's debt to variety of Chinese entities. Sri Lankan government is heavily in debt and distress, partly because of mega infrastructure of the Hambantota port and many other such projects. China's interest in the Indian Ocean grew in context of One Belt, One Road initiative. It consists of two components, namely Maritime Silk Road Initiative and Silk Road Economic Belt. It constitutes a massive geopolitical project that aims to construct landscape to enable flow of trade and investment by promoting economic cooperation and connectivity between Asia, West Asia, Africa, and Europe. Right? Our next important headline is Understanding the Provisions for Foreign Visit of State Government Ministers, available on page number 8, related to paper 2, Polity and Governance section. In this article, we have to know under which provisions are approval required for foreign visits of state government ministers. तो recently क्या हुआ है कि दिल्ली स्टेट ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्टर हैज मूव्ड अ कोर्ट with a plea to set aside need for travel clearances by Center for Private Foreign Visit of State Ministers. अब अगर हम रूल्स की बात करें तो in 1982 Cabinet Secretariat issued the first memorandum which stated that foreign visits by member of state government in their official capacity would require clearance from the center. In 2010, political clearance became mandatory before private visits of minister in state governments, right? Our next important headline is Cabinet Note for Climate Pledges, available on page number 11, related to paper 3, Environment section. In this article, we have to know about the Union Cabinet's recent approval to update India's nationally determined contributions, rationale behind the move. So recently, India ratified pledges made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Glasgow last November to accelerate country's reliance on renewable energy to power the economy and be effectively free from the use of fossil fuels by 2070, right? So recently, Union Cabinet laid out 5 commitments. Also, we can say Panchamrit as government references. Namely, कौन से हैं वो? India will increase its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030. Number 2, it will meet 50% of its energy requirements from renewable energy by 2030. Number 3, it will reduce the total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons from now till 2030. Number 4, it will reduce carbon intensity of its economy by more than 45%. Number 5, it will achieve the target of net zero by year 2070, right? Our next and last important headline is Advise States to Enforce Digital Generation of DIN, available on page number 14, related to paper 3, Economy section. In this article, we have to know about the Supreme Court's recent direction to issue an advisory to states regarding implementation of the system of electronic generation of document identification number in indirect tax administration. तो recently क्या हुआ है कि Supreme Court has directed the Center and GST Council to issue an advisory to states regarding implementation of a system of electronic generation of document identification number in indirect tax administration. The states of Kerala and Karnataka have already implemented it. अगर हम इसकी बात करें document identification number की, तो what is it? It is a 20-digit identification code that is affixed to every communication sent to taxpayers by the government. So that's all we have in today's discussion. Thanks for watching. Be happy, be nice.